Yashodhanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunjabi Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Shri Radha Madhava ki jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai Tiger Pranam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nevi Shesha Shanivari Paschatya Dasatarine. Today is the appearance day of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. We will read from the Srimad Bhagavatam a few shlokas, 1, 2, 3 or more, about Krishna's birth. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is the 10th canto, 3rd chapter, text number 1. Thereafter, at the auspicious time for the appearance of the Lord, the entire universe was surcharged with all the qualities of goodness, beauty, and peace. The constellation Rohini appeared, as did stars like Ashvini. The sun, the moon, and the other stars and planets were very peaceful. All directions appeared extremely pleasing. And beautiful stars twinkled in the cloudless sky. Decorated with towns, villages, mines, and pasturing grounds. The earth seemed all auspicious. The rivers flowed with clear water. The lakes and vast reservoirs full of lilies and lotuses were extraordinarily beautiful. In the trees and green plants, full of flowers and leaves pleasing to the eyes, birds like cuckoos and swans, and swarms of bees began chanting with sweet voices for the sake of the demigods. A pure breeze began to blow, pleasing the sense of touch and bearing the aroma of flowers. And when the Brahmins engaging in ritualistic ceremonies ignited their fires, according to Vedic principles, the fires burned steadily, undisturbed by the breeze. Thus, when the birthless Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was about to appear, the saints and Brahmins who had always been disturbed by demons like Kamsa and his men felt peace within the core of their hearts. And kettle drums simultaneously vibrated from the upper planetary system. Ooh. We should have someone enact what I'm saying. Have any dancers here? You can do it. All you have to do is the mudras. Yeah. Maybe this one, yeah. Let's try it again. Okay, put the camera on, Surabi. She's going to make her debut appearance for the first verse. Thereafter, at the auspicious time for the appearance of the Lord, the entire universe was surcharged with all the good qualities of beauty, goodness, and peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. The constellation Rohini appeared, as did stars like Ashvini. The sun, the moon, and other stars and planets were very peaceful. All directions appeared extremely pleasing. Maybe I should do it. And the beautiful stars twinkled in the cloudless sky. Decorated with towns, villages, mines, and pasturing grounds. The earth seemed all auspicious. The rivers flowed with clear water. And the lakes and vast reservoirs full of lilies and lotuses were extraordinarily beautiful. In the trees and green plants full of flowers and leaves, pleasing to the eyes, birds like cuckoos and swarms of bees began chanting with sweet voices for the sake of the demigods. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shanti, Shanti. A pure breeze began to blow, pleasing the sense of touch and bearing the aroma of flowers. And when the Brahmins, engaging in ritualistic ceremonies, ignited their fires, according to Vedic principles, the fires burned steadily, undisturbed by the breeze. Thus, when the birthless Lord Vishnu, where are your forearms? Can you do forearms? Yeah. Someone go behind her, do 2 more arms. Okay. Thus, when the birthless Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was about to appear, nice, the saints and Brahmins, who had always been disturbed by demons like Kamsa and his men, felt peace within the core of their hearts. And kettle drums simultaneously vibrated from the upper planetary systems. Thank you. We have to make the Bhagavatam come alive. Okay. Yeah. You know, in Mayapur, years ago, when they did parikrama, they would often do dramas at the places where that Leela actually happened. They would enact a Leela right at the place where it happened. So nice. So instead of just telling the story, you'd watch the Leela. Purport. I have to read this dramatically to capture your attention, but don't know if I'm the best dramatic reader. We'll try. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that his birth and activities are all transcendental, and that one who factually understands them is immediately eligible to be transferred to the spiritual world. The Lord's appearance or birth is not like that of an ordinary man who is forced to accept a material body according to his past deeds. The Lord's appearance is explained in the previous chapter. He appears out of his own sweet pleasure. Same thing. When the time was mature for the appearance of the Lord, the constellations became very auspicious. So they all moved around. Now it's auspicious. The astrological influence of the constellation known as Rohini was also predominant because this constellation is considered very auspicious. Rohini is under the direct supervision of Brahma, who is born of Vishnu, and it appears at the birth of Lord Vishnu, who is in fact birthless. According to astrological conclusions, besides the proper situation of stars, there are auspicious and inauspicious moments due to the different situations of the different planetary systems. At the time of Krishna's birth, the planetary systems were automatically adjusted so that everything became auspicious. Of course, Krishna wouldn't take birth at an inauspicious time, would he? I don't think so. At that time, in all directions, east, west, south, north, everywhere, up, down, left, right. There are actually 10 directions. There was an atmosphere of peace and prosperity. Auspicious stars were visible in the sky and on the surface of the earth. In all towns and villages and pasturing grounds and within the mind of everyone, there were signs of good fortune. Fortune. How do you say? Fortune. Fortune. We say fortune. You say goddess of fortune. Fortune. The rivers, you should read this with their British accent. You know, with my sloppy American accent. You want to read it? Do some dramatic reading. I'm not like right here.
From the rivers?
Yeah, the rivers.
The rivers were flowing full of water, and the lakes were beautifully decorated with lotus flowers.
What? Oh yeah, these are mine.
Which verse is
This verse is the first verse of the 3rd chapter, 10th canto.
First verse of the... Okay, from the rivers. Or from the beginning.
The rivers.
From the rivers. The rivers were flowing full of water, and the lakes were beautifully decorated with lotus flowers. The forests were full of beautiful birds and peacocks. All the birds within the forest began to sing with sweet voices, and the peacocks began to dance with their consorts. The wind blew very pleasantly, carrying the aroma of different flowers, with greatly pleasing the sense of touch. At home, the Brahmanas, who were accustomed to offering sacrifices in the fire, found their homes very pleasant for offerings. Because of disturbances created by the demoniac kings, the sacrificial fire had been almost stopped in the houses of the Brahmanas. But now they could find the opportunity to start the fire peacefully. Being forbidden to offer sacrifices, the Brahmanas had been very distressed in mind, intelligence, and activities. But just on the point of Krishna's appearance, automatically their minds became full of joy because they could hear loud vibrations in the sky of transcendental sounds proclaiming the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Haribol. Is that it, or should we continue?
No, we'll talk about this.
Thank you.
I hope this works. It says greens. Should say blue, no?
I asked.
Yeah, okay. Have you noticed that on appearance days like Gaur Purnima and Janmastami and like that, all the devotees are really happy? Have you noticed that? It's like what Prabhupada's saying here, what this verse is saying here, you feel it on these days. It's like special. And you look at all the people and they don't know it's Janmastami, and you feel like, hey, wait a minute, you should know it's Janmastami. You should be celebrating with us. This is like, it's not a day to go play golf or tennis or do what you normally do. The first point Prabhupada is making is that it's such a nice verse in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Chame Divyam. Prabhupada's referring to that verse in the purport. That one who understands Krishna is eligible immediately to be transferred to the spiritual world. So, it's interesting. You say, understand Krishna, well, he's God, so that should be obvious, but it wasn't. It's not. You have to have some purity to understand. You have to have a guru to understand. And it doesn't seem possible that you could see Krishna and not understand who he is. Like, he's not obviously like everybody else. But just like people saw Prabhupada, they didn't see him as any different than anyone else. So, and some people saw Prabhupada and they immediately became devotees. The same way, you could see Krishna and not know. He's Krishna. Yes?
What about Kamsa? It is said in the Krishna book that he understood what's happening when he saw the transcendental beauty of his sister. He understood that the baby, special baby, divine person is about to be born. What about his purity?
But then he listened to his demoniac advisors and became covered again. Well, how much did he know? He's trying to kill him. You can't kill Vishnu. So he didn't really know. Especially you can't know the only way you can know Krishna is through love. And if you're against Krishna, you can't know. Even if you knew yesterday, now you don't know. If you turn against him, you're covered. So, and then Krishna says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvataha. If you know me in truth, then you won't take birth again. So there's ramifications of knowing Krishna, because then if you know him, you'll love him. If you love him, you'll go to him. But you can't know him if you don't love him. And you can't even begin to know why you should love him and how to unless you have Guru. So, Guru comes, this is Krishna, this is how to know him. And that's the reward of your bhakti. You get to know Krishna. Chakta deha punar janma, when you give up the body. Again, chakta deha, when you give up this punar janma, again birth, naiti. No, mam eti, you come to me, O Arjuna. So Prabhupada gave us Krishna book, now we know who is Krishna. But of course you need faith. Krishna book came out, I became a devotee. I first started coming to the temple in October of 1969. Krishna book came out in August of 1970. So I didn't have access to the Leelas. just whatever Prabhupada said in a lecture. You know, Krishna steals butter, he gets upset, he passes urine on the floor, like that. Lifted Govardhan Hill. But there were no details, and we didn't know all the Leelas. Then Krishna book came out. Now we could say, by Prabhupada's grace, we know who Krishna is in fact, tattva. Tattva means the truth. And now that you know who Krishna is in truth, what does Krishna say in the Gita? He said, well, you know me in truth, you'll give your life to me. Right? You know, it's like, they say, oh, you should go see this movie, it's to die for. Or go to this restaurant, it's to die for. You have that saying here? It's to die for. It's like, it's so good, it's worth, if just to get it, if you had to die, it'd be worth it. Something like that. So when you know Krishna, it's to die for. You can't not give your life to him when you realize who he is and his beauty and experiences the nectar of serving him. So that's what that verse means. You know, one who knows me is the Supreme Personality of God, without doubt is a knower of everything, and it will surrender. One who knows me as I am surrenders to me. What else are you going to do when you know Krishna? Oh, that's Krishna. You know Krishna? I know him. What do you think? He's cool. No, it's not like that. It's like, if you want to maintain material life, don't look at Krishna, because once you do, it's finished. You know, you should have a little what's it called? Disclaimer in Bhagavad Gita. Disclaimer on Srimad Bhagavatam. This book, if you read this book, it will destroy your material life. Caution. Because it's true. That's how it works. If you have faith. And if you hear from Guru. So we can say, therefore, that Krishna comes here to do his Leela, and the Guru comes and explains the Leela. So if we understand the Leela, we'll fall in love with Krishna, we'll go back to Krishna. So Krishna comes here, so to get us to fall in love with him. That's why he comes. And how do we fall in love with him? We learn about him, his qualities, and his pastimes. And if you learn about his qualities and pastimes, you'll fall in love with him. If you learn about them in truth, then you obviously have to live a lifestyle which enables you to understand these things. You have to live a lifestyle which is not in competition with him. And then, if you just live a lifestyle of service, you hear about Krishna, you'll have to be attracted. And then, as Krishna says, you won't take birth again. Which means that the purpose of Krishna's coming is so we won't take birth again. That's why he comes. That should be clear from so many verses in Bhagavad Gita. And sometimes people will ask, what's Bhagavad Gita? And I'll say, Bhagavad Gita is an official invitation to the spiritual world. That's what it is. Because in so many verses, Krishna is inviting us back. Isn't it? So many verses. So here's your invitation. And how do I RSVP? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Here, excuse me, sir, here's a little book. It's your invitation to go back to Godhead. So what's so funny, even if you don't say that, but you just think when you're giving someone a book, this is an invitation back to Godhead, and listen to what they say. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in going back to Godhead. This is an invitation to eternal life and bliss. I'm not interested. This is an invitation to go back to the spiritual world. I don't have time. This is an invitation to go back to the spiritual world. Get out of my way. This is an invitation to go back to the spiritual world. Don't bother me. That's exactly that's the material world personified. It's just people's response. Isn't it? Isn't that interesting? That's what they say, right? Yes?
Like, I don't read, and then once I ask, like, you want to be happy? No. You're looking for happiness and peace? No.
I'm miserable, don't bother me, leave me alone. But yeah, so Do you want to go back to Godhead? No. And it's a fact. It's a fact. That's why we're here. We don't want to go. But I think it's beautiful to see Bhagavad Gita as an invitation back to Godhead. And Krishna descends to do his Leela, of course, but he descends to speak Bhagavad Gita as an invitation. And then he comes as Mahaprabhu because nobody took up the invitation. That's very weird, don't you think? God himself comes. Nobody even knows he's God. He offers to take us back to Godhead, and nobody takes up the offer. That's bad. And you say, why is Mahaprabhu so merciful? Why does he have no qualification? You say, well, Krishna tried with qualification and nobody wanted it. Which, like the Tesla, they were selling for so much money, and then nobody's buying, and these Chinese cars were coming out, and so he lowered the price, like 20,000 euros or something. So, Krishna said, come back to Godhead, and everybody said, not interested. Mahaprabhu came, okay, what are we going to do now? I spoke Bhagavad Gita, no one's paying attention, now what do we do?
What would you say to people who say, honestly, for example, I don't need it, I already know it?
Oh, the Indians mean.
No,
What would I say? What part of it do you know? Which verse do you know? Oh, well, you can say that to India. I've already read it. What was your favorite verse? That maybe they have one they can say, because all the Indians have one verse. Do your duty. And say, any other verses? That's a nice verse, but that's just the beginning. You have anything more? Any other verses? I know all this. What is all this that you know? Of course, they're just going to that will agitate them. I know all this. Whoa, pretty humble, eh? Yeah. The beginning of knowing everything is to know you know nothing. What do you think of that? I know all this. The person who knows all this knows nothing. The person who thinks he knows nothing knows a lot. My dear sir, when you come to understand you know very little, the universe is very vast, then you're actually learned. Right? Didn't Einstein say that? Something like that. The more I study, the universe, the more I see how little I know. Yeah. So, one of the things we appreciate on Janmastami is that Krishna came down here to pick us up, to get us. And he did that by speaking Bhagavad Gita. So, generally on Janmastami, you think we should read Bhagavatam. But also you can think we should read Gita because this is why Krishna came. He came to speak Gita to you and me, to invite us back. And always need to remember that invitation is always there, every day. And that's what Krishna wants. We were saying this morning, where's the bead bag? We were saying this morning, there's a picture of Radha and Krishna on the speed bag. And we were joking, warning, don't do this at home. Don't attempt this at home. And when Krishna says, you'll know me in truth, you can only know me in truth when you don't imitate that Leela. And so this Leela, Radha and Krishna, it's full of rasa. It's full of pleasure. It's full of everything, but you can't understand it while you're trying to imitate it. So when you try to get the pleasure of that Leela, of that rasa, materially, then the door shuts on being able to experience the pleasure of the actual rasa, the real rasa. You get the pleasure of the perversion, and the door is shut on experiencing the pleasure of the real rasa. Yes?
I have a question about the worship I feel a little bit confused in that regard because there are some temples that kind of worship them more in this like Raj mood. For example, I got this darshan, and then I've been told that Prabhupada said that we shouldn't worship them like this.
Yeah.
He said that we should worship them as more like Lakshmi Narayan mood.
Right.
And I don't really understand because I was thinking, why do we then not have Lakshmi Narayan temples?
Because, well, we're worshiping Radha and Krishna, we know that. And we're worshiping, yeah. Where is this, Hungary?
No, this is Sweden.
Yeah.
Usually they don't worship like this, but this was...
And some places will worship Radha and Krishna like this. I mean, not in ISKCON, but other places. That's what Prabhupada told us, that according to the injunctions of deity worship, that's how it's done for us. Of course, you could not, I think the real question is, what if I'm cultivating a relationship with Krishna in the mood of a Brajbasi, but externally I'll do the worship, but internally, I may externally do on reverence, but that's the standard, but internally it's not. Wouldn't be that way. Then one might say, well, will a day come in ISKCON when we're all so advanced we won't worship as Radha and Krishna, as Lakshmi Narayan? That's, as far as I understand, that's just how it's done in deity worship, but your internal mood is not necessarily going to be that way. Obviously, it's not going to be that way if you're practicing Raganuga Bhakti or you're more evolved and you will have some inkling of your relationship with Krishna that's very strong, because you're more like on a Sakti or something, and it's just obvious this is what it is. So externally you'll do it all. That's how we do it. Otherwise, if you didn't do it that way, you're in the Sakya Ras and you're like, going into some lila in your head and like, Krishna, that wasn't fair. I'm not going to feed you today. Put yourself to bed. There's a story of, I think it was maybe Gorkishore Das Babaji, and some kids were making fun of him, and it was said that he said, Krishna, stop teasing or I'll tell Mother Yasoda. That was his reality. So you can have that reality internally, but externally, Prabhupada said you serve him like a king. That's the standard. So you do all that. That's what Prabhupada did. So he never told us that there would be a time when we wouldn't do that. Maybe at home, in your own puja. But that's different. But as far as I understand, according to the Pancharatriki standards, that's how it's done. But your mood may be different. You can have a Giriraj and you can be in a certain mood worshiping him.
But Prabhupada didn't really approve the worship of Giriraj.
I don't think it came up that much, but generally he said, I was told he said sannyasis should not have Giriraj, but I could be wrong because they all do. So if he said they shouldn't, why do they all have them? I know, one thing I definitely know is that when Prabhupada established the Los Angeles temple, as we said the other day, they bought the 7 properties, 4 across the street, and the 3 properties next to the temple and the 4 across the street. And he said that if you're worshiping deities at home, it's redundant because you should worship the deities in the temple. And then, of course, Some devotees had deities because they had kids, and so the kids could worship the deities. But so far as I've found, that everybody likes to have their own deities. But here's the good news: you all have your own deities. It's called the Maha Mantra, because Krishna appears in sound every time you say Hare Krishna. So you all, and you ever read that statement, or Prabhupada said, you can make in meditation, you can make a diamond throne in your heart, and you can put Krishna on the throne, and then you can get Ganga water and offer it to him, and flowers. Like, you can meditate on this. So you can also worship a deity made of mind. So you're imagining it. That's a beautiful meditation. The holy name is a deity, and those are your deities, and you can worship them. But I think it seems like there's certain things that Prabhupada would prefer we do, but is not, again, forced strictly, or somehow or other everybody wanted to do it, and it's not like something sinful. But if you have service and you said, Prabhupada, I can't do it because I have to worship my home deities, I wouldn't tell him that, unless you want to get yelled at. So that was the idea. Like, we don't have enough devotees to worship the deity in the temple because they're all worshiping deities at home. Wanted to avoid that, yes. Prandai Tulsi Devai Prayagasavashacha Vishnu Bhakti Pradi Devi Shachavacha. So, we are worshippers of the love of Radha for Krishna. And we are relishers of the love for Radha and Krishna. And as long as we're trying to experience that love directly, materially, then we deprive ourselves of that experience of that love, which is like the worst thing you could do for yourself, by far. And therefore we say, when you talk about marriage and all that marriage should help you get closer to the love of Radha and Krishna, but if you imitate it, then it takes you further away. So it's just, it's like, a lot of people don't understand that this is the prize of bhakti. You get to experience the love of Radha and Krishna, but they want to experience it themselves. And they don't realize they're doing it. You are meant to be enjoyed by Krishna. Your husband's meant to be enjoyed by Krishna. You're meant to not be the enjoyer of your husband. You're not meant to be the enjoyer of your wife. You're both meant to help one another be enjoyed by Krishna. Krishna owns you. Krishna owns your husband. You are not your husband's property. Your husband is not your property. You're both Krishna's property, and you both help ideally facilitate one another's service. And if you see your husband or wife as Krishna's property, you'll never exploit them. You can't exploit them. Just like a spiritual master cannot see his disciples as his property. If he does, he'll exploit them. You belong to me, therefore you need to do all these things for me. He sees himself as a servant of his disciples, then the relationship is pure. If the disciple doesn't see himself as a servant, if the guru doesn't see himself as a servant, the relationship is corrupted. Right? It's the same way with husband and wife. Teacher and student. It's all, parent and child. And that's where all the problems come. I'm trying to, you belong to me, so you have to do all these things for me. Even Prabhupada said that as a spiritual master, he cannot force his disciples, even though on paper they should do whatever he asks. But he recognizes, they have free will and they have to voluntarily serve. So Prabhupada extracted our love. He inspired us. He appreciated us. We were motivated to serve. That's beautiful because it came from us. And he always thanked his disciples all the time for the service they did. And he always said, I am your servant. So that's perfect. Otherwise, the disciples worshiping the guru, and the guru is just taking it and like, give me more money, give me more worship, polish my toenails, give me your apartment, give me your car. You can do anything, right? You're going to go to hell if you don't, I need $100,000 today. If you don't give it, you go to hell. I mean, these things can all go on. But the guru thinks, I'm a servant. This disciple is not my property to enjoy. The disciple belongs to Krishna, and I am Krishna's servant, therefore the servant of my disciple. Why? One of the things I often say is like, because this is our philosophy, why should it change when you get married? But somehow, when you get married, the philosophy changes. I'm a servant. I'm an eternal servant of Krishna too. My wife's my eternal servant. Like, kind of a misunderstanding, Okay, the wife is meant to serve the husband, be chaste, but that's for her to do. It's not for him to force. He's meant to serve her. You can't force it. That's what they're supposed to do, right? So Prabhupada wouldn't even force his disciples. The guru won't force a disciple. The husband shouldn't force his wife. So he endears his wife to him, and he provides shelter and protection. Naturally, she wants to serve. That's normal. But force is not love. We're not about force. Read Bhagavad Gita. Here, I have Bhagavad Gita in one hand and a sword in the other. Take your choice. Which one do you want? It's not. You want to say something?
I was just thinking, when it comes to love, I find it so difficult to love Radha and Krishna because I struggle so much with loving myself,
Yeah.
loving my partner,
Yeah.
loving anyone
Of course.
around me. So it seems like so almost impossible. And then I heard that the closest love for Krishna you can experience in this world is the love a mother has to their child.
Yes.
So could you say something?
And you
around
could say,
that?
what if I don't have a child? Then how would I know? What you say is true because we don't have experience of love of Krishna. We don't even have experience of real love in this world. I think the same way. Like how can I love Krishna if I don't even know how to love people here? So we can start with loving devotees, loving the guru, and get purified. Of course, all the things we do will awaken that love eventually, but it's not like I don't practice loving people on this planet and I just wait for, love to awaken through chanting. So you have to practice it. So a lot of people resist the sacrifices they have to make in Grihastha life, but it's really good because it's a practice of love. You get married because you're all like rosy-eyed and everything is blissful, and then, some horrible thing happens. And now it's difficult. You both lost your job on the same day. You have no money. You have to move out of your nice house into a studio apartment, living on top of one another. Wow, now that's when real love happens. One of you gets sick, the other one has to take care. Their whole life stops to take care of the other one. That's real love. So that's nice. Have you ever heard this story? Prabhupada was said that in India you'll find that sometimes a man is so poor. He said you'll see a couple's on the street and the wife is cooking chapatis on the street. Any of you heard this story? You'll see like they're so poor they don't have a place to live, and she's on the street cooking chapatis. And Prabhupada told that story, and he said she is so devoted to her husband, even he doesn't provide a place for her. She's living on the street and she's cooking for him. Wow. So he uses that traditional example of the devoted wife. Nowadays, even he gives her a 5-bedroom house, still she may not want to cook chapatis for him. Cook your own chapatis, don't bother me. I have to go to shopping. It's come to that in some cases, that's generalization. Obviously, it's not that way for most people, but to some degree, it's like that. Bargaining, what are you giving me? What am I getting? So the sacrifice you make for other devotees, for your partner, it's really good because it teaches us what is love. And even, there's a story, even some of the grihastas that were with Bhaktisiddhanta were not giving money to the beggars, and he said, you should, because otherwise you just become a miser, everything for you. You're a grihasta, you have money, give something. It's, you need to do that. So any opportunity to serve, it helps develop love, because love is selfless. And often we don't want to serve because it's not fun. But that's what we're learning to do. And it'll all get us closer to understanding the love of Radha and Krishna. And if we don't understand the love of Radha and Krishna, it kind of defeats the purpose of Krishna coming, because that's what he came to give. And if we don't understand, if we don't qualify ourselves to experience it, then we become our worst enemy, right? Like Krishna's coming. Here's Radha, here's Krishna, here's the love of Radha, inconceivable. You can experience that love through hearing about their leelas, experience some of it, and get a taste for it. And then more, I think you all have this experience. Have you ever read something and one day just like knocked you out, and you've read it before and it was like, oh, whatever. And all of a sudden one day you read it and it's like, oh my God. That's because you're in a certain state of consciousness at that point that is open and receptive to it. So I remember at one japa retreat, in the evening of the 64 round day, there was some pictures of Krishna and poetry being recited and some dance. And I was looking at those pictures and I was thinking, I've seen these pictures hundreds of times, but tonight they look different. After chanting 64 rounds, they look different. So that's where the sacrifice, the austerity, whatever it is that you're doing to purify yourself comes in, and then all of a sudden the same thing that you confront every day is better because you're more purified.
So you're saying that Grihastha ashram is also a purification process we can undergo to come closer to Krishna.
Yeah, well, when there are difficulties in Grihastha life that we have to work through, it's usually you have to make some sacrifice. Somebody's got to sacrifice, or both partners make a little. And when you live by yourself, you don't have to. Just do it the way you want, when you want, how you want. But when you're in a relationship, you can't do that. Which is fine. It's just don't be just be single and be single and be happy. Because not everyone's, wants to make those compromises. It's difficult. And but it's very purifying if you can do it. You make lots of sacrifice. Of course, sometimes your sacrifices are like causing you to minimize your service or your sadhana, so that's frustrating. But still there's that spirit of sacrifice, which is necessary and purifying. But, every ashram is purifying if you do it right. Just because Grihastha life is purifying doesn't mean everyone's meant for it. Being single is purifying. Can be. Nothing's easy. Single, married, vanaprastha, sannyas. It all has its challenges. But if we always remember, if we understand and always remember, the ultimate reward is that we can have some deeper understanding and some experience of Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, of Ras Leela and all this, then it's worth it. Whatever sacrifice we make is worth it, and whatever we have to do to show love is worth it. And Prabhupada, when he says the closest thing to love is the love for a child, a love of the mother for the child, it's because the conjugal love is so mixed with a desire to enjoy the other person. Whereas the mother's not trying to enjoy the child. I mean, maybe indirectly. You have a child to enjoy, but in reality, they're just They're just trying to make their child happy. That's their main concern is the child's happy. So that's why it's pure. But the male-female thing is contaminated, which is why there's divorce. Nobody would divorce themselves from their kids. But they would divorce themselves from the husband or wife because there's this, I need to get from you. If you're not giving, why do I even need you if you're not giving me what I want? Okay, it's understandable people get married to fulfill certain needs. But that can become very impure and very miserable and very materialistic.
It kind of doesn't make any sense to enter into that relationship. It doesn't, for me, I don't really understand, because it doesn't make any sense to enter into that relationship in that mood. It just seems completely contradictory.
Yeah.
So then what is the point in the first place? Then?
Well, I think the problem is people were raised to enter in that mood.
Mm.
And so if that desire is too strong, you forget or you don't understand that that's not the purpose. You have needs you have to fulfill, obviously. So it's like with any need, you have to fulfill it in a way that's not going to harm your bhakti. This is a fine line. Fulfill my need this high. If I go this high, now it's counterproductive. It's more than I need. Or it's not the purpose of the marriage. There's natural attraction between male and female, and they get satisfaction from one another. But the primary nature of each individual, the relationship has to be around serving, not enjoying. All right, some enjoyment you can have, but that's not your fundamental position.
Because the enjoyment should really come from serving the other person, right? The pleasure that
Serving,
you get from seeing them happy.
And serving Krishna together.
Yeah, exactly.
That's nice. You do kirtan together, you do class together, you do puja together, you cook together, you do so many things. Of course, you raise a family together. And you're serving one another, you're serving your children. It's all about service. But not everybody can make those kinds of sacrifices. You have to have some affection for that person, because sometimes the sacrifices you're asked to make are pretty big. And if you don't really like that person, it's like, I don't know if I want to make this sacrifice for you. I'm going to work hard and give you all my money. I don't know. You better love that person. You better want to serve that person. That's why, that's the impetus. And I'm going to do all these things for you, cook for you, clean, this and that. Tolerate your dirty socks on the floor, all this. You better love that person, otherwise you'll go crazy. Just make sure when you get married, you buy your husband a laundry bin. All your dirty clothes go here, okay? Not on the floor. Hare Krishna. So, I think this is one of the most important things that we can meditate on. Krishna's coming. Here's my Leela, relish it. And we're thinking, no, I want to do that. I want to do that Leela. Defeats the whole purpose of Krishna coming. So, one who understands my Leela in truth, that's because they serve it so they can understand it. They're not trying to imitate it. So Krishna comes to show what is God. God is the enjoyer. And this is how I enjoy. And that means, it's not working. I think it's just it. Where is it? It's okay? Can you hear it now? Or it's just dead. It's green. It should be blue, huh? Or it's good. Das ist good. No, Krishna's coming to give this Leela, and we're saying, I want to be in that Leela. Not as a servant, but as you. And then it defeats the whole purpose of Krishna's appearance. So like we're celebrating Krishna's appearance, but part of that celebration is to understand actually how to celebrate it. And we're celebrating the love of Radha and Krishna by serving it. Otherwise, you're not celebrating it by imitating it, right?
Mm.
That's like, it's a paradox.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Read Bhagavad Gita today. Understand why Krishna came. Read the words that he brought with him for you and me. Read his invitation. Read the description of his invitation, the directions. Okay, I'm inviting you back to Godhead. Here are the directions. Okay, you want to come to my wedding? Good. Here are the directions. This is how you get there. Go left, go right. All right, do this, do that. You go back to Godhead. So it's an invitation and directions to back to Godhead. That's what Bhagavad Gita is. That's it. Simple. Anything else? Question, comment? Yes.
Yes, about this. I was listening. What it's like this? It's good.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good.
So you mentioned this verse, Janma Karma Chavidya, and that what Krishna explains that one comes only when he understands him. And then, as you continue to speak, you said that at least I understood it like that at one point one can understand Krishna not by his own ability, but by Guru who is teaching. And then I could remember also how Krishna appeared, that it was described that first Krishna appeared in the heart of his father, and then Vasudeva, and then how from his heart transferred. So in that comparison, it's how at least I understood that because he was pure devotee, like it works somehow, and I'm trying to understand. So the pure devotee or the guru is giving instructions. We just try to, and then by this instruction they have somehow it will reveal what
Krishna appears in the instruction. But as we were saying before, the instruction is like a seed, and the disciple has to fertilize the soil. So you can have a very strong seed, but if the soil's bad, it won't grow. The example that's given in Bhagavatam is the male-female. So the male has to be potent and the female fertile. So it's the same idea. So Krishna is coming, descending through the words of the Guru, but the fertilization of that soil is your service, your austerity, your sadhana. So otherwise, you got the seed and nothing's growing because you don't have the soil. That's through your practice, yeah. You can intellectually understand everything, but it doesn't mean your heart's going to change. Heart changes through practice, through application. Not just understanding. It's not enough, of course. And of course, it's a Kali Yuga, so in one sense, you could erase everything I said and just say, take the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. It'll do everything, which is true. Chant Hare. We're so messed up anyway, just chant Hare Krishna. Don't worry about anything, chant Hare Krishna. Then you'll get love of Krishna. So it's kind of that simple. Like, okay, you should know Krishna in truth. You should do these austerities, this, that, and everything I said is true. But it's Kali Yuga, and some people can't even do that. All right, just chant Hare Krishna. And gradually, you'll come to the point where you can do all those things. So you can work like that. Because Prabhupada said that when Lord Chaitanya is giving the holy name, he's not putting any requirement on it. But, Krishna is saying, you can only know me by bhakti. Lord Chaitanya says, just chant, don't worry about it. Even if you don't do anything, just chant. And then you'll get bhakti. It'll come that way. Like, on your own, you're not qualified. On your own, you don't want it. On your own, you don't try. All right, well, just chant. We'll not worry about all these other defects. So that's like Lord Chaitanya's mercy is. It kind of neutralizes so many instructions of the Gita, in a sense. Not neutralizing, but in a sense, there are many instructions in the Gita that are invalidated by Mahaprabhu's mercy. Because you look at so many verses in the Gita and you give a lecture on them and you're thinking in the back of your mind, but isn't the goal just to chant, dance, and spread Krishna consciousness? And there are all these other like details, and it's true. All these other details are less important, if important at all. And then you have the holy name, and you have a pure devotee, and you have the process. You're good. You're good to go. Krishna in the Gita says, don't disturb the minds of the ignorant. Don't bother them. Lord Chaitanya had a plan to make everybody a devotee. You got to bother people to make them a devotee. Excuse me, sir, don't bother me. No, I'm here to bother you, definitely. You need bothering.
Yeah, because they would beg them.
Yeah. And they say, don't come back. He comes back the next day. Why have you come back? Why have you come back? I've come back to bother you, of course. I exist to bother you. That's what I do. I bother people. I give them Krishna and that bothers them. I'm sorry. I'm bothering you. So in many verses in the Gita, Lord Chaitanya, his appearance is kind of neutralized or transcended or made less relevant or not even relevant. And Prabhupada would say, chant Hare Krishna and take prasadam. And if you're inclined to philosophy, we have books. So the connotation was chant and take prasadam. Even if you're not inclined to philosophy, you'll become purified. Then maybe down the road you'll be inclined to philosophy. But even if not, then just keep chanting. Take prasadam. It's not that we're anti-philosophy.
It's a little bit like that triangle. What's it? That Maslow's triangle, though, right? Because a little bit like that Maslow's triangle, in that the other things support the chanting.
Yeah.
If we don't have good prasadam, we aren't going to be able to chant
It's
properly.
true. That's true.
And then all the other things are like...
Yeah, if we organize our life in a way we can chant well, and everything else we need supports that, then we're good, because chanting will do everything. Good chanting will do everything. It's very simple, actually. Krishna consciousness is all very simple. It just gets complicated when it gets in our brains.
I say it more like there's, like you can have like the basic cake, or you can decorate the cake and have all the ornaments around it. It's a bit like that, right? The foundation is there.
Yeah.
And then you add, if you want to add detail, you add detail.
As long as you have the foundation, Yeah. It's pretty hard to understand that I'm not the enjoyer, although we think we understand it. But that's the obstacle, because I still think I'm the enjoyer. I'm still trying to enjoy separately from Krishna. Even if it's not external, it's in my mind, I think about it.
But then it comes to a point where it's not relishable anymore. It's like the taste is not there for that.
No, and it destroys your taste for bhakti, which is the worst thing.
Exactly.
That's the big warning on the label. This will destroy your taste for chanting Hare Krishna. Don't do it. Anything that would destroy your taste for chanting, run from it immediately. Don't do it. But we're so conditioned to be the enjoyer that we do things that are bad for us. Right? We're just Kali Yuga, we're really handicapped spiritually. It's like when I think of spreading Krishna consciousness, sometimes I think, I don't know if this is impossible or not. Because people come to programs, they're interested, but the more you get to know them, the more you see how big an obstacle it is for them. All the conditioning that they're going through. It's not easy. I mean, the holy name is powerful. You can break through it all. But some people have a hard time just chanting.
Yesterday when we came, I cycled around Amsterdam, and after the Harinam, I went back to get my bike into town, and I went on my own without devotees.
Right.
Then that was that. I could see that really heavy energy.
You could see.
I could see like the people were sitting in the cafes having all of their drinks, and they were smoking weed, and there was all those like clubs with all the
The real you didn't see the real Amsterdam until the Harinam ended.
Right, exactly. I couldn't see it while we was with you, and then when I went back on my own, there was like, oh my gosh, Krishna.
It's so true.
And then I was cycling back, and I was like, Krishna sent me here for a reason. There must be a reason. I needed to see all this. And then I was feeling like, what service can I do here? Because, in London we have so many things going on, but here there's beautiful effort. I was wondering, like, what's the reason Krishna wanted me to see all this? Can we cut through this? And then I was feeling, but I just feel like I'd be like a drop in the ocean. Like, what can I really do?
Well, you know that story. The story of all the fish that are being pushed up on the shore, and they're dying, and
starfish.
Man is throwing them back
one
down.
at a time.
Yeah, it's like sometimes it's like there's only one person you helped, but that person is helped.
Yeah. And
there will be others. And as you advance, Krishna will, and as your desire strengthens, Krishna will use you. We used to do a festival, it's a pretty degraded festival, but exactly what you said. We never really noticed what was going on in the festival until we stopped the Harinam and packed up, and it's like, oh my God, this is like we had created a bubble. We didn't even see it. We didn't even feel it. That is definitely a fact. And then it just shows how merciful the holy name is, because the holy name can cut through all of that. And we were all like these other people, and we're devotees. So, it seems impossible that Jagai and Madhai could be devotees. And all the disciples of Jagai and Madhai in the modern world, it seems impossible. But Prabhupada had faith, if people take the holy name properly, anybody can become purified. And it's got to start somewhere. People have to begin somewhere.
Yeah. And then I was wondering about, how do I develop, potency to be able to cut through this?
Yeah.
And then I was wondering, when does it border on arrogance that I think I can?
You can't, but Krishna can use you. That's it. That's the way we think.
Yeah.
We cannot. Okay, we start with I cannot, but I want to. So Krishna, would you use me? And Krishna says, yeah, I'll use you. Just empty your heart of all the trash. Because if I give you power and you have trash in your heart, you could misuse the power. Or you could use the power and do something wonderful and then become proud. So unless your heart is fairly clean, I can't give you the power. Like, why would someone give you money unless they could trust you in it? You would invest it well. So Krishna's like, I'm not going to give you the money of my Shakti if I don't know that you can invest it. So that's okay. Just know it's not yours. Then you're fine.
Yeah.
But that's hard. It's hard, isn't it? You ever do something wonderful? It's like, hey, I'm the man. It's hard to think Krishna's the man and I'm just, I just got the Shakti. Because we want to take credit. Desperately. Don't we?
Yeah. The best way I always find an example of that is when I'm playing the flute. Because literally you have to become an instrument. Literally become an instrument.
Right.
Because I don't really have the skill or the talent but the flute needs a certain amount of surrender, otherwise it doesn't play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all for us, it's all appreciation. Whatever we can do, we're swimming in appreciation that Krishna lets me do this. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you, Krishna, for giving me the ability that I could use to serve you, because if I use it to serve myself, I will suffer like a dog, as I have been for the last 10 zillion lifetimes. And thank you that you've given me some ability, and you've trusted me with this ability, that you've given me this ability, and therefore you've trusted me that I will use it for you. And if you can give me some more, I'll use it more for you. You don't give me more, that's fine. But if you like, I could take more, I'll try to use it. And just be careful. As long as you are in the ego of Aham Brahmasmi, I am a servant of Krishna, you're safe. Nothing's going to bother you. Any other ego is dangerous. And Krishna is going to say, no, I'm not going to empower you. You have the wrong, your false ego will throw you off course. Okay.
Thank you.
Class is now officially over. Have a happy Janmastami. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And all the Janmastamis when I was a young devotee, all fast all day, 64 rounds. But then we started having all kinds of preaching going on. I couldn't do that. Janmastami came like a big day for preaching, not for chanting. Hare Krishna. Gauranga.
Gauranga.
Nityananda.
Mahatma Prabhu ki
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.